Welcome to the New Life Stories channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching.
Elvira was returning from vacation early and was incredibly angry with her boss. After all, it was he who had interrupted her vacation. To think that just a day ago she was relaxing in the warm sea. The woman got out of the cab, went into the entrance and waited for the elevator. Her mood was not good. Well, how so? She thought, I've been waiting all year for this moment, and here it is. Their work is urgent, June is sick. What do I care? I don't need any money for this attitude. What's the use of him paying me? My vacation's ruined. She couldn't get the key into the keyhole with anger. Finally, she managed to do it, and Elvira entered the apartment. She lived alone. She didn't even have any pets, because she was at work all day and thought that there was no sense in it. What is the use of torturing a poor animal, which will always sit alone in four walls and board? Elvira worked hard and doubted very much that she had any energy left for anything else but to fall on the bed and sleep after work. She was beginning to seriously consider changing jobs, but the pay was good here, and it was a shame to quit. Elvira thoughtfully put her suitcase in the hallway, went to the bathroom, washed her hands, then went to her room and squealed with fear. There was a strange man sleeping right on her couch. The squeal woke him up, stirred, sat up, and then started to get up from the couch. Seeing this, Elvira thought he was heading straight for her and squealed even louder, at the same time scrambling backward and fumbling for something heavy behind her back, but tripping over a chair, she awkwardly sat down in it. "Who are you?" she found the strength to ask. "Me? I'll be right out. I must have gotten something mixed up. You're Diego's, aren't you? You're the new tenant. Why didn't he tell me? I would have moved out." The man absent-mindedly rubbed his forehead with his hand, not quite sure what was going on. "Me? Yes, I'm actually." Elvira couldn't find words out of indignation. "I live here. This is my apartment, okay? Who's Diego? What are you talking about, and how did you get into my house? Answer me now or I'm calling the police." Girl, don't call the police. I'm leaving now. I'll just get my things." The man scurried around the room. "He's got his own stuff here too. Is that necessary, huh? Why don't you tell me who Diego is?" "Sit down." Elvira, driven to fury, shouted. The man was taken aback and landed on the first chair he could find. Then he took a deep breath and began his story. He came to the capital from another city, wanted to rent an apartment, found an ad, called. A man called Diego answered. He offered a small price, everything suited him, but there was only one condition. He had to move out in 2 weeks and not a day later. So he paid him for the whole term and moved in. But the 2 weeks had not yet passed, and today he was resting peacefully when Elvira showed up. What the matter was he didn't quite understand. And if there were no more questions for him, he was ready to bow out. "You're not going anywhere," said the furious woman. "First I'll check if anything is missing, and then we'll go with you to the police." "No, nothing is missing. I haven't touched anything here. I just watched TV at night and bathed. I'd also fried eggs. No police, please." "Oh God." Elvira covered her face with her hands tiredly. "Washing in my bathtub, frying eggs in my kitchen." Her hands quickly dialed a number on her smartphone. "Hello, police." Then she walked to the hallway, locked the door with a big key she didn't usually use and sat back in her chair with a triumphant look. "Well, why on earth would you do that? When I'm going to tell the police," the man muttered disconsolately. "The same as me. Let them find out who Diego is and how he got the keys to my apartment." After the investigator who drew up the report and the expert who examined everything and took fingerprints left, the man and Elvira were left alone. They sat in the room on the sofa and were silent. Each was thinking about his own thoughts. However, in a way they were both victims, and even, strangely enough, on this basis they managed to become friends. Elvira learned that the man's name was Brian, and he seemed to her a rather modest and honest man. And handsome. "Well, I'll go," said Brian at last, and picking up his bag of things, went into the hallway. "Where are you going at night? You can't get an apartment now. Stay in the guest room." "I can't sleep knowing that I've thrown a man out into the cold," said Elvira. "Well, it's not that cold. I'll go. I've caused you enough trouble." In the end, Elvira managed to persuade the man to stay. He looked like a decent man, and the woman felt sorry for him. It's not his fault that he was deceived by a swindler. "Tomorrow you'll start looking for a new apartment. Now it's time to go to bed. I have to get up early for work. What a long day it's been today, said the woman tiredly and yawned. But tomorrow, Brian didn't move out of Elvira's apartment either. All day long he had been calling the classifieds looking for a new place to live, but he hadn't found anything suitable. Either the prices were ridiculous or the apartments were in terrible condition, and when Elvira came home from work, she was surprised. The apartment was thoroughly cleaned and sparkling, and a hot dinner was waiting for her in the kitchen. Divine. Rolling her eyes, said the woman, sending into her mouth pieces of baked meat with vegetables. I never get meat so soft. I don't even want to cook, frankly speaking, and I don't have time. And I don't like it, and this is a feast. They sat in the kitchen at the table and had dinner. That's what I'm talking about. You should try how I cook duck. I'm a professional chef. I can do more than that. There's nowhere to work in our town. I went to the capital, and here I am. Such a failure. Now I'm a criminal. Or is it luck? Elvira laughed and twisted her finger at her temple. What are you implying? What luck? Some psycho used my apartment and rented it out while I was away. Oh, I remembered something. I have to call the investigator. He said to call any time of the day or night if I remember anything important. And I remembered. The investigator was writing down the information. Diego Sanchez, right? The man in front of me, about 25 years old, lowered his head sullenly and nodded. What do you do for a living? A door installer. We found out that you had recently installed a door for Elvira Bell. The man was silent. Did he? I install doors every day. It's my job. I don't remember or care what the customers' names are. Interesting, said the investigator, but the landlady, whose apartment you used illegally, remembered a curious fact. The woman remembered that shortly before leaving she had decided to change the front door. It turned out that while the cunning installer was doing his work, he accidentally overheard Elvira's conversation on the phone. Her friend had called her. In the course of the conversation, Diego realized that the woman would not be home for 2 weeks, and when his partner was attaching the door trim, he took a moment to go to the workshop and made a duplicate key. And then he simply placed an ad and rented Elvira's apartment to the first person who wanted it. He took the money from him at once and didn't even worry about anyone finding out. He just strictly instructed the tenant to move out at the appointed time. Who knew that the boss would interrupt Elvira's vacation? Well, now that it's all cleared up, I'm no longer suspected of a crime. Ryan asked the investigator. No. But Diego Sanchez will be held legally responsible. There's enough evidence against him. He's listed on the door installer's receipt, his fingerprints are on the door itself, and the number you contacted in the ad is registered to him. The investigator said and made a phone call. A minute later, a guard came through the door. Take the detainee away, the investigator ordered. Ryan stayed at Elvira's house. There was a sympathy between them, which grew into true love. It happens. Modest, quiet man with kind eyes Elvira liked very much. And Brian admired intelligent, strong-willed woman, statuesque beauty Elvira. And in the depths of their souls they realized that it was not for nothing that fate had turned so. Perhaps they were destined to meet. Both lonely, both have long been desperate to meet their soulmate. Life had given them a chance that they couldn't refuse, and brought them together in such a strange way. Brian found a good job in a restaurant. He was a cook, as they call it, from God, and having worked a trial period, immediately got a good position. As the restaurant quickly realized what talent they got, and Elvira did not leave that job. First of all, they took another employee, and it became easier for her, and secondly, the boss changed. By chance it turned out that the former boss was dishonest. He was found guilty of some machinations. Elvira didn't know exactly what kind of fraud, but he was removed from his position. The new boss appreciates the woman because he immediately realized what a valuable employee she is and is afraid to lose her. And recently he even increased her salary. No one knows how another zigzag of fate can turn out, even if at first it seems that nothing good will come out of it. And it turns out like this.